Fala aí, galerinha, vai conferir aí a transmissão do Dash, né? Essa aqui acho que vai ser a última transmissão que vamos fazer antes de lançar a DLC em si, né? Lembrando, é claro, que vai ter o resumo no canal para quem quiser ver depois. Vamos ver o que eles vão apresentar agora, né? O pessoal ficou meio que dividido sobre como que vai funcionar agora as armaduras e o negócio de upar vai ser um pouco diferente, né? Pelo que parece, mas vamos ver se eles vão falar alguma coisa a mais sobre essa próxima transmissão, né? Eu sei que ficou um pouco confuso aí, até para quem viu depois o, o post que eles colocaram. Mas vamos ver aí como que vai ser, para nós ver como vai funcionar, se os itens que a gente tinha já vai poder usar, ou se não, os itens que a gente vai poder ter agora vai ter para poder infundir os novos em si, né? Lembrando, é claro, que a live vai ficar gravada para vocês também. E vai estar no canal aí também algum resumo aí depois que acabar a live em si, né? Lembrando que, claro, também tem a playlist completa aí no canal. Do Destino 2 eu organizei todos os vídeos aí na ordem, que ela saiu a DLC em si e as temporadas. Mas vamos ver aí como que vai funcionar esse negócio aí do Dash, né? Essa DLC em si. Ela sai no dia 15, né? Basicamente tá aí 2 semanas e pouco. Vou estar fazendo live pra vocês no canal e também vou estar fazendo aí live também do Guia da Rádio também, assim como eu fiz na outra DLC, né? Deve estar já começando o evento, mas diga aí no chat o que vocês estão achando aí. Ah, deixa aí nos comentários também, depois que acabar a live. Falta basicamente acho que uns 15 minutinhos basicamente pra estar começando aí o evento. E se eu não me engano, deve sair um novo trailer hoje. Não sei se vai ser o trailer oficial da DLC, né? Outro, que eles sempre lançam um aí, mostrando algumas coisinhas a mais depois. Não sei se vai ser essa semana, então se vai ser na outra aí. O trailer de lançamento da DLC, né? Como eles fazem. Lembrando, é claro, que tá tendo um drop aí somente na Twitch, viu, pessoal? Quem tá no YouTube é só lá. Quem tá ganhando o emblema em si. E lembrando, é claro, que teoricamente os eventos assim não demora tanto. Mas vamos ver aí como que vai ser, né? O outro demorou bem pouco para começar. E enquanto começa aí, basicamente, eu vou beber uma água aqui e já volto aí com vocês. Tá, voltei. Já começando. Lembra uma vez, pessoal, o drop é somente aí na Twitch, viu? Quem tá vendo pelo YouTube aí, não pega o drop do emblema. Hum. Eles colocaram alguma coisa aqui no Twitter. Tem que estar vendo aí, no caso, 15 minutinhos pra ganhar o emblema em si. Falar a verdade, eu tô bem interessado aí. Como que eles vão fazer, né? Sobre esses itens que vai ser 3.0, vamos dizer assim. Mas eu tô bem curioso se o item que eu tenho, no caso, eu vou estar podendo usar ou não, né? Vamos ver se nós temos alguma resposta hoje. Já era chatinho de farmar, né? Algumas coisas. E imagina as pessoas que têm bastante item aí, no caso, farmado, né? O cara esse tempo todo aí jogando Destiny. Mas não sabemos como que vai funcionar. Essa é a grande questão aí. Essa DLC. Até agora aqui no Twitter que eu tô vendo aqui não soltaram nada, nenhuma imagem ainda não. Algumas coisas que vai estar nesse evento. Provavelmente eles vão fazer depois. Algumas coisas que sair. Até melhor editar o vídeo pra vocês, né? Mais pra frente aí. Não sei porque que meu mouse tá aparecendo aqui, peraí. Aí, agora saiu. Mas enfim, lembrando, é claro, que a playlist do Destiny 2 no canal tá completa, tanto nas seasons, como mais hidden e outras quests também, que talvez algumas não estejam mais no jogo, gente. Lembrando pra vocês. E também a playlist também das lives também tá completa aí. Tudo que eu já fiz no canal. Lembrando que não deixe de conferir aí o canal no YouTube pra quem tá vendo na Twitch, gente. O link tá na descrição. E pra quem tá vendo isso aqui no YouTube gravado, não esqueça que depois eu faço o resumo aí sobre o que foi abordado nessa live aí do Destiny. E lembrando, é claro, que no dia 15 aí, eu vou estar em live aí quando eu conseguir logar, porque todo mundo sabe que a Destiny em si, quando sai alguma DLC, tem muito tempo aí pra estar conseguindo logar, né? Por causa da fila em si. Então aí, no caso, eu vou estar tentando logar o mais rápido possível, mas não prometo abrir a live somente aí quando estiver logado no game. E esperamos também que não tenha aí tanta queda igual tivemos nas últimas que teve, né? Porque o primeiro dia da última DLC, todo mundo viu aí que todo mundo tem muitos problemas em si, no jogo em si, né? quase pouca gente conseguiu terminar o game na primeira semana, nos primeiros dias em si. Então vamos ver aí como que vai ser. O que vai ser esse lançamento, né? Mas esperamos aí que seja muito bom. Tô com 20 minutos já de live e os caras não começam, hein? Mas que falta 1 minuto. E sobre a DLC, acho que dessa vez eu vou fazer ela no PS, viu, gente? A live no PS, porque a última live que eu fiz no PS, uns anos atrás, era melhor do que jogar no PC em si, né? Por causa que no PC também que eu tentei fazer a live aí pra vocês, no lançamento caía muitas vezes aí o servidor. E daí eu acho que no PS é mais estável um pouco, mas vai começar aí. Vamos ver aí, né? Vai começar com um thriller.
Kepler. You've never been there. And you know every inch of it. It's the farthest either of us have been from home. In distance or in time. You're gonna get a call. An invitation only you can answer. And you'll say yes. They arranged it so you would never say no. Choice.
Tá da hora, hein, mano?
And every choice you make will lead you here. To who you're supposed to be.
Deu a nova arma, né?
Eyes up, weapon.
Aliás, da rádio, viu? Já temos um framezinho aí da rádio. Dia 15. Vou passar aqui o stream pra cá. Aí. Acho que melhor acompanhar aqui.
Awesome. Hello, welcome to Bungie. Welcome back for our second live stream for The Edge of Fate. What you just saw was our launch trailer. We are 14 days away from launch. Yeah, 2 weeks. Pretty insane. Today we're going to be talking about what activities are on Kepler. What can you expect from world tiers as you're going through for replayability? And to introduce that, we actually have a wonderful human being on the couch next to me. Did I introduce myself? My name's Dylan. Hi. Your name is Robbie. Hello. Let's actually get a real introduction for you. How you doing?
Hey, Dylan. It's great to be here. I'm the assistant game director for Destiny 2, and I focus on working with the broad Destiny 2 team and creating this game for our players and charting a new course to some new frontiers here with The Edge of Fate. Just 14 days away. It's crazy.
Right?
It's awesome. Yeah.
I keep telling
Falta poucos dias aí, né?
14 days in
Começar.
It's already here. So today we're going to be looking at Kepler. Can you give us a quick overview? What are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at some of the free roam experience on Kepler, and we're also going to be taking a sneak peek at the end of one of our campaign missions that is replayable in the post game after you complete the campaign of the Kepler experience. We're also going to be talking here about our world tiers a little bit, which we've talked a little bit about in the stream, and we're going to talk about a lot more here today. And so what we're showing on screen right now is the world tier difficulty selector that's on the
Que vai ser os modos, né?
And so Brave and Legendary, you can play through the campaign, you can play through the main quest, the story of the release, and Brave or Legendary, doesn't matter. But after you do that, you're going to unlock Fabled.
Lembrando que no caso, essa daí que tá falando, vai ganhar alguns buffzinhos.
When you step out of either Brave or Legendary, you're going to probably be able to do Fabled. Most people will be able to do Fabled. Some people might need a Fire Team, but if you want to play Mythic, you're really going to have to climb Power, and the difficulty really escalates, and then the gear gets better. And so if you're hunting for that, that tier 2+, 3, 4 loot, right, you're going to be needing to play and Fabled Mythic to find those higher tier loot.
Yeah, let's get some combat going. Really quick, what is the state of our fire team? You were mentioning we're in Fabled, so this is going to be after they've already done their first playthrough.
Yeah, so this fire team has played through the Legendary campaign. Right now, they are inside of the Gorge, which is one of our 4 major regions of Kepler, and they are in free roam right now, and they are going through one of our free roam encounters. And so the other thing I should call out here is within these free roam encounters, there are reasons to basically go back through the destination using your new abilities in new ways. And so, sorry, can you ask me that question one more time? Like, I feel like I answered it, but then I segued into something else.
I said, what state is our fire team in? Post-campaign?
Yeah. We're post-campaign. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, we're hunting higher tier loot and gear here on the destination, and they're also doing some of our post-game quests. So both Fabled and Mythic have their very own quest associated with them as part of the post-game. That are one part of like completing the Triumphant Seal to earn some exclusive cosmetics and emblems, but also these world quests unlock some additional loot in the game as well. So specifically the Mythic quest that's associated with that world tier unlocks a variant armor set for the Kepler armor. So as you're playing through the campaign and throughout the experience,
Esse negócio que eles estão falando aí no caso, né?
once you complete that Mythic,
O cara não para de falar. Basicamente uma missão da campanha, lembrando, é claro que tem dificuldade em si, mas que algumas dificuldades que eles mostraram ali, você ganha mais loot aí, então, mesma coisa das outras que tinha, então dificuldade a mais, se eu não me engano agora, 2 a mais, né, a das outras campanhas que teve, e lembrando, é claro que quando você termina a campanha, basicamente aí você ganha aí o item exótico, né, não sei se vai ser aqui, vai estar aqui nessa DLC, mas provavelmente vai ter alguma coisa exótica aí. Provavelmente aquelas armaduras. Se for no caso, vai ser aí no caso a manopla do Titã, a manopla do Warlock, do Arcano, né? E também aí o torso do Caçador. Eu já tinha bolado para vocês que seria no caso a recompensa aí de terminar o modo mais difícil. A campanha no Dash, né? Na DLC.
You have to use the destination abilities to solve some simple puzzles and encounters inside of them, and generally they have like pretty thick combat, especially on like the Fabled difficulty as well, where we start adding more enemies, tougher enemies, and also there are banes that are applied.
Essa mecânica dessa esfera aí de energia, eu vou chamar assim, é bem interessante, viu? Muda bastante aí o jogo. Algumas coisas do jogo que tem, né?
Side objectives or objectives can pop up.
Yeah, so the way we kind of are thinking about this, right? Like a lot of this outside of doing the seal, the triumphs, and things like that, and mysteries and secrets, which we can talk about here in a minute, a little bit more, is like it's about gear pursuit, right? It's about earning that higher tier gear, chasing power, and so the way we constructed these regions, there's these free roam major encounters, there's tougher enemies that appear, there's HVTs that pop up, there's destination materials to loot, and there's this material called a faded cipher as well, and so you're going to be combining destination materials that you get from basically doing almost anything inside of the region alongside faded ciphers in order to be able to purchase specific items at the destination vendor called the Altar of Relativity at the center.
That's a lot of names and words.
Lots of proper nouns.
If you didn't catch this, I know there are going to be breakdowns. We'll have a recap in the Twid, but yeah, continue.
Provavelmente a hard vai ser negócio de Vex.
In the post-game,
A minha teoria aí, eu acho, né? Vai ser alguma coisa relacionada a Vex.
Okay, today's focus is the Gorge, which the fire team is looking at today. Most of the materials that you're earning here can be used to purchase
Já tá demorando a matar aquele Minotauro ali, viu? Pra dar mais imune do que os outros. E tem esse canhão de mão aí, no caso, é que eu já tinha contado pra vocês, que talvez seria aí uma arma aí que você ganharia na campanha, né? Então ela já vem direto no passe quando sair.
also some of our content creators and influencers showed as well, and some of their content parts of it. But basically, of the 4 major regions, the daily focus will shift day over day to basically kind of change what you're focused on, what gets you access to that direct purchase loot.
Yeah, and since we're on the topic of rewards, you were talking about like the currencies and the vendor.
Yeah.
You had mentioned before the stream, actually, there's a new form of attunement for the destination as well.
Yeah, so something that was really important to us was like it just, we want to make playing what we call like the action game, like actually experiencing free roam like this and the mission content, like when you earn that piece of loot on Kepler as you're
Morreu.
these activities and just got nuked.
No, I'm so
Essas galinhazinhas aí, me chamando de galinha, é chato demais, viu?
shall we?
Inimigo.
No, exactly. Yes, this is Fabled pushing back a little bit.
A mecânica em si dali que eu falei pra vocês, tipo, quando eu fui dar o outro vídeo, né? Na primeira live que eles mostraram, é que essa mecânica aí de você construir as coisas, né? Algumas coisas que vai ter no cenário é bem interessante. Eu queria muito que essa mecânica utilizasse ela na raid também, viu? Mas vamos ver se vai ter alguma coisa. Eu acho que bem difícil. Mas se usasse essa mecânica na raid, seria aí bem interessante.
Carving your own path, you're figuring out your own farm routes inside of each of these 4 regions each day of the week.
Com difusão.
Make sure that, like, hey, if you're looking for the giver, that auto rifle that's coming,
Esse canhão de mãe é da hora, viu, que ele tá utilizando. Ele é de...
Yeah, so you had mentioned just a minute ago about secrets and the depth of...
Ele é de estase.
I'd love to hear, yeah, go ahead and expand on that.
Yeah, so like it's funny with like secrets and mysteries, like you want to like talk about it a little bit, but like not too much
No
to
spoilers, right?
like spoil it.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing to scratch at here and poke at here is right is like we've talked about the destination abilities a few times, and so with the world tiers and the fabled and mythic difficulties throughout the destination, there are secrets and mysteries, like basically all these little alcoves, these little locations, these side paths, these hidden rooms, all throughout the destination that you can go and discover. And there's a lot available just within the campaign experience. Like if you want to play through the campaign and take it like really slow, and as you earn abilities and look around, you're going to find a lot of mysteries to solve. But we also wanted to make sure that in those higher world tiers in Fabled and Mythic, that it felt like this expanding expansion of that content that you have. And it's basically like, hey, you have even more abilities than ever. You can now peel back the onion of this world to discover what's at the core of it. Mm-hmm. And so we really wanted to make sure that it felt like there was
Ganhou alguma moedinha ali naquele loot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Não sabemos o que é ainda.
managed to get this perfect timing, but we have perfect timing. I would love to shift to campaign. We're going to be taking you about midway through campaign mission here. A quick note for the audience: if you're avoiding spoilers, we have disabled our VO. We have disabled our subtitles. We're trying to keep this so you are discovering the story as it comes out with the Edge of Fate and our new saga. So as they're getting loaded into that, I'd love to ask you just a couple more questions about free roam in the regions.
Yes.
What other things can happen in regions outside of campaign?
Yeah, so one of the big things that happens inside of these regions are side quests, which we've only talked a little bit about, and these are basically ways that flesh out more of the characters of the world, more of the stories of the people and of the place, and what's happening on Kepler and what's been happening with them before and what might be happening to them in the future. And basically what happens is as you're completing these regions as part of the campaign and you kind of start to unlock more of them, these side quests will start to become available. And so these side quests are available to you at any time. So again, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like you can either take it really, really slow and take a really long time to get through everything the release has to offer, or you can just like beeline the main quest, beeline the critical path, and then when you get into the higher level world tiers, all of these side quests are now available to you. As we've been like play testing and closing out the Edge of Fate here, it's been really interesting to watch different developers and people play test for the content. Myself and Blake Battle, one of our executive producers, he and I we're just like beelining it, right? Yeah. And then we get to the end and we like pop up in that and we're like, look at all these quests to do, while other people like want to take their time and like experience like the full story of every single little piece.
So we're actually we're getting into the campaign right now, and speaking of beelining, we've seen a ton of questions about getting raid race ready. So the raid race is going to be...
Você tá falando basicamente é que vai ter algumas questzinhas pouco diferente, né? Do que nós já estamos acostumados. E que será mais interessante, né? Esperamos.
And so when you step out of the legendary campaign, you will be power ready at that point. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're gear ready, that's up to you, right? It's like how far you want to go down that rabbit hole.
And that dovetails into like replayability for the story missions and the campaign missions and how that bakes into world tiers.
Yes,
right?
Getting that higher tier loot. Yeah. So something that was like really important to us when we were thinking about replayability and what like aspiration means within an expansion, we really wanted to change some of the formula. Like we wanted to take some of the formula that we think works well, but also change other pieces of it. And one of the really big goals for us was just giving you more reasons and just easier ways to play some of the best content we built. This campaign mission is at the end of the Exiles Accord region. This fire team is taking down a giant Exiles prime servitor who's running some of the Archon's dark matter operations. Sorry, all minor spoilers.
No, it's cool. Life is probably jotting this down, getting ready for a lore dump about the Fallen, all that kind of stuff.
But this is a really fun like multi-phase boss encounter that they're orbiting around this giant servitor. And
Eu acho que essas campanhas em si, elas deveriam ser mais em mundo aberto do que em locais fechados, né?
And so things we've kind of done before that we're going back to that we think
Eu acho que deve ter que dar uma mudada nessas missões de história. Colocar em um local mais aberto do que locais fechados.
for each of our regions. We also have some bookends at the
Eu vi
beginning and end of the
duas ou três armas ali que eu já vi que é diferente da que foi mostrada
similar to
na live passada. E daí, como for por vídeo, é melhor explicar pra vocês aí algumas armas. Uma é essa daí, ó, que vocês estão vendo aí agora.
is we
Essa arma parece ser bem interessante.
missions that take
Ela usa aí munição pesada, né?
these are shorter experiences.
Não, ela usa munição secundária. É a de vácuo.
The story, moving the story of the main quest into Kepler for, and also help you to unlock different abilities and things throughout it. And so, in the post game, in the higher level, in the world tiers, we actually have a story mission playlist where you can go in, and it's like a rotator, and you're rotating through a bunch of different randomly selected story missions that are about 10 to 15 minutes. Some people can, if you're going really fast, can get them down a little bit shorter. And those missions are actually one of the best sources of those faded ciphers that I was talking about earlier. And so. The other thing I mentioned earlier too is we have specific quests for
O jeito que ela recarrega é bem da hora, viu?
these quests are going to take you through some of the big campaign missions, again, to experience them with new modifiers, because we're curating modifiers and banes and things like that every single week on the destination to have a little bit more of a curated experience. But then also those quests introduce some like new encounters as well. And so, sorry, like I'm going a little all over the place. I mean, some of this there's just like so much information, so much to talk about. But the thing, like, again, I want to like drive home here is like we wanted to give you really strong incentives to go in and play the free roam experience, to extract materials, to play our story mission play.
O que tá aparecendo, essas missões que tem, né? Tá vendo que tem ali a barra do boss, né?
Have reasons to go in and read some of our biggest
Pra você fazer alguma coisa com o servidor. E daí, no caso, você tem que fazer vários objetivos até chegar aí no objetivo final.
We talked about
Pra tá conseguindo fazer essa missão.
abilities. You carry those forward after the post game, so you can go in and replay and then have some of these things available, right?
Yeah, that's a really good note, and thank you for hitting on that. Like, the way we designed this content was the campaign slowly stepped you into these different abilities and unlocking different versions of them and higher tier versions of them. When you're in the post-game experience, we intentionally designed puzzles and encounter mechanics and things, and like even in this boss encounter, there's multiple times that they've had to use Matter Spark to like get into the vents and stuff below this area and pop up through the world. And through the campaign, you would actually have to go and find like a Matter Spark pad to activate that. And that's actually kind of part of the puzzle. It's teaching you to kind of look at the world and think about the world in a different way that is intentional. But then in the post game, as soon as you complete the campaign, you unlock Matter Spark game.
Esse Candyman já tinha mostrado no passado, né? Na outra live, dessa arma.
Being able to summon Matter Spark anywhere means you can actually like sequence break some of our puzzles and sequence break part of our missions, and that was like entirely intentional as a part of the design. And to be honest,
No
Dylan,
caso, tá dando bem pouco dano, viu?
we're not 100% sure in some ways.
Talvez o foco deles agora não vai ser tão poder tão alto.
But like that,
Não vai ser poder alto, né? Em si,
from the design perspective,
manter o que era a essência do Destiny 1, né, gente?
Magic of like the sandbox
Acho que não tem que aumentar tanto o poder, não.
ability with
Mas que as pessoas fiquem aí
this combatant,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
se esforçando pra chegar no nível alto, acho que não compensa, sinceramente.
A lot of questions from players where they're like, oh,
Você tendo uma luz ali, nível de luz aceitável,
how does
ela tá fazendo as atividades que você não precisa ficar se matando, fazer o negócio tão nível alto não, viu?
you and I were talking about this
Se a recompensa em si, por esse esforço aí que você tem,
just to give us like
é bem pífia, na minha opinião.
today, it's like apples and oranges between what the Edge of Fate is and what Rise of Iron is. So when we've talked about that, we've generally been
Os
speaking
inimigos novos ali, viu?
destination.
Eu vi aqueles voando no cenário.
And post-game experience. Like, this is one of the deepest destinations we've ever built before, and that is why we've been making that comparison to Rise of Iron in that way. But also in terms of being like a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But also, like, the game is very different today, right? We have an entire portal, we have an entire offering that is there with a bunch of new content, new gear, new things to do. We have the raid with the Edge of Fate, obviously, but then we have the epic raid coming in the major update with Ash and Iron, which we'll talk about more in the future. That just, it permutes and expands the raid and expands on the story of the raid. It is new content.
Yeah.
We're not holding anything back for the base raid to build that experience. And so, again, the Rise of Iron to Edge of Fate, little bit apples and oranges, but we also are thinking about like the collective packages of what comes with this release, because the game is very different from what it was like back.
So we have the free roam mission.
É, eu tô falando bastante que o jogo vai ser bem diferente do que nós estamos acostumados, né? Esperamos que seja mesmo, viu?
Wrap up with our campaign mission to talk a bit about what else players can expect in terms of a destination activity.
Yeah, so we've seen y'all talking about it. Like, we hear y'all, and this is one of those things where, like, we wanted to hold this back for it to be like a surprise and delight moment for everyone when it appeared on the destination in the post game. But yeah, let's just talk about it a little bit. So there is.
Destrua o escudo do gerador.
It is. I'm not going to
A
name.
missão ali em si.
See it when the game goes live, and part of that is because, like, it does relate to some of the story inside of the campaign, especially near the end, and so we wanted to be careful to not unintentionally spoil something if we showed too much of that activity. But anyway, the way to think about it is, like, it's kind of its own thing. It's kind of unique, but it's kind of a blend of activities like Vex Incursion and Wellspring, and so. This is a match-made activity with 3 players. You're going to be using some of your destination abilities and some really chaotic horde mode inspired elements, but there's also some mechanical elements and there's some boss encounters. But it's going to be one of the best places actually to earn rerolls of the exotic armor that's coming in the Edge of Fate that you get from the Legendary campaign, and it's just highly rewarding in general. And so, because we wanted to make this activity really rewarding, it is also technically time limited, but
Eles estão falando muito sobre essa modalidade da campanha, né?
it's going to be basically a preview that tells you, like, hey, when does the activity become available? So you're going to know exactly when you can jump into the destination activity in order to, like, focus farm those things that you care about the most.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Quero ver se vai ser isso mesmo, hein?
the campaign mission, and now we're actually going to be moving over to Portal, Power of Progression. So Robbie, thank you. Chat, thank Robbie for joining us today. And now we're going to swap some folks in. We'll see you next time.
See you later, guys. Thanks so much.
All right. So
Aí as novas armas eu falei pra vocês, ó.
talk about these 2 new exotic weapons that we see on the screen. You saw some of this in our gameplay preview that we just had. We also had some creators, influencers, that kind of stuff coming in and speaking to the hand cannon and the scout rifle. Hand cannon is going to be through an exotic quest on Kepler. No spoilers there. But the team was talking about, oh, hey, here is our overall goal for the weapon. It's for those who are looking for the perfect 3-tap. As for the Void Scout Rifle, that's going to be a part of our new rewards pass. This is just, I'm not going to spoil that either. There are some reviews from our Sandbox-minded creators. It's a fun time. So, all right, let's move on to
Vai ter alguns pros criadores de conteúdo aí. Quero ver, hein, Band, me mandar.
guests in that order. Hello, welcome.
Um vai ser exótico e o outro vai ser negócio de criador de conteúdo, parece.
We'll start with you, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dylan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. For those who didn't see you on our reveal stream or previous Vidocs, can you give a quick overview? Who are you, what you do?
Yeah, I am Ben Womack. I am the core game creative director. I am the one, like, helping all the teams that are making the core experience and all the components in the portal and in Edge of Fate as well, like, worked well together and, like, pushed the game forward into, like, this great new foundation. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Next on the couch, brand new to our chair. You've never been on anything, so first time you are meeting the community. Everyone in chat, say hello. Nutty, welcome.
Hi, I'm Nutty. I'm one of our Sandbox ability designers. That pretty much means that I work with Vivian.
Ó, vamos ver esse design aí, vamos ver se vai ser bom, hein?
That the
Vamos ver se vocês vão melhorar as armaduras da raid.
combatants
Vamos ver se vocês vão melhorar o design da raid, mas se bem que o design da raid são bons, né? Mas as armaduras da raid tem que ser boas, hein, nessa DLC.
We got Alan Blaine. How you doing?
Hey, great. How you doing, Dylan?
Oh, you asked me how I am? Thank you so much. really quick introduction for everybody out there watching. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Alan. I'm a principal designer, and for the last year, I've been leading the
Ó,
team
o principal game design, hein?
and modifiers. Nutty's team is
Vamos ver.
combining them in
As armas em si estão da hora no DLC, nessa DLC.
both new.
Mas vamos ver aí como que vai estar as armaduras em si, se vai ser bonito ou não, né?
Playing those activities, and then that score turns into loot with cool seasonal power and gear tiers and all the great stuff that you're looking for.
Stellar. So we have some content on screen. This is what players are going to see when they sign in on day one, and this is our introduction to the portal. Ben, I would love to get just a quick overview for those who may have missed that reveal stream. Like, what is this space? What are we aiming for?
Yeah, so the portal is very exciting. We had this vision of making a new front page for the game, for Destiny 2. And so we really want to make as much as we could.
O design em si mudou, viu?
And,
O design era acostumado. E ali embaixo tem ali tipo uma telinha. Ainda pra ver o que, que vai ter na missão, né?
what your friends are playing.
Pra jogar.
Something like convenient that you really want to like go to a lot. Like we have a button for the tower that's right there.
Tá no ranking nível 49.
We also have Edge of Fate in the upper corner, of course, which is like the new feature, the new expansion for the launch right here. We have this huge like quick launch panel in the lower right that is rotating between new activities, like probably the fastest you can play Destiny ever, aside from right when you like start for a very first like new character. It's gonna let you just like hit and play something right away with like no delay. And then we have actually a very like nested depth there with all
Ah,
the
legal que agora ele tá mostrando o que você já vai ganhar ali, né? Na recompensa, então, que se fizer.
new systems that Alan and Nutty have been talking about.
Awesome. Yeah, really quick, I'd love to go just line by line for Solo, Fireteam, Pinnacle, and Crucible Ops. Give them an introduction.
Yeah. So Solo Ops is like a new thing that we're doing in the Edge of Fate launch and for the core game. These have activities that are designed to be played by solo players. They're only one-person fire teams, and they're intended to be content that if you just like have a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes to play Destiny, and you want to go on and like feel satisfied about your time, get some great loot, you're going to go to Solo Ops and like have that opportunity. It's going to be like a really great, concise like experience. We're also like you know if you don't want to have like the think about having a fire team for some content as well, you can be assured that this stuff is designed to be played by one player. And so it's like, you know, it's going to have challenges, going to have difficulty and modifiers and such you can customize and really great loot to get. But, you know, it's a challenge for you, individual. And I think that's really exciting, like alternative to some stuff in the past. It felt like I want to play, but I don't have any friends, or I'm trying to find someone I have a lot of time, and we have another like niche for people to fill if they're in the mood.
Yeah, awesome. And then next up we have Fire.
Aí é o novo design que vai ser nas missões que tem, né?
Just talking about fire teams, like quintessential Destiny is playing with two other players, a fire team of 3, right? And so we have all of the activities in.
Ele tá lembrando
We have like classic
os
strike
streams, né? E assim as telinhas que eles colocam pra gente ver.
in Europa, like the Empire hunts.
Os streams como a Netflix e tal.
We
E
have
outros também, né? Tem essas telinhas pra gente ver que vai ser tipo uma preview do que tem ali dentro.
and like integrating with all the systems we've been talking about that we're going to talk more about, so that they're like available for you to get new loot in, to work on your power class,
Interessante, viu? Eu gostei.
basically just like
Novo design.
whichever way you want to.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, since we're already
Porque no Destiny atual não tem como a gente saber o que a gente vai ter. Tá uma atividade, né? Aí agora já vai ter mostrando o que você vai ganhar naquela atividade que tem.
here, I'm actually
Interessante.
back over to you and Alan. Let's get some bans, some modifiers, all that kind of stuff set up. Really quick, can you introduce each of these sections for the different modifiers, and then we'll go and kind of pick and choose what we want?
For sure. So we're starting at a master activity, and this is 300 combatant power. The first row there that has all the selectable icons that you can change are challenge modifiers. These are things that will increase the combatant power and add some additional difficulty to it. The first one is our Banes. So here you decide what Banes are going to show up, and we paired all of them as like 2 combos that either work well together or at least interesting. Today we'll do Threaded and Caltrops. So Threaded is where as you damage the combatant, it will spawn Threadlings, and when it dies, it will throw out a few more Threadlings.
É tipo um modificador, né? Que já tinha um assalto.
Get spawned,
Agora ele vai meio que aumentar o bônus de você
and when it dies,
ganhar o item em si, né? Eu já tinha explicado pra vocês na outra live passada e também no vídeo que eu soltei no canal sobre como que funcionar algumas coisas sobre o novo sistema que eles vão estar colocando.
Yeah, let's do subtle foes. So this just makes it so that when some of the enemies are far away from you, they will be invisible, and that helps them get into close range. Or if you are using a long-range loadout, you won't be able to deal with them as much. So you might want to bring some close range.
And
or
they're like very invisible. Not like,
yeah, not like.
Vai ter o rank ali, basicamente você vai, ganhar aquela recompensa no nível que você selecionar.
Yeah, let's.
Daí mais é pra quem gosta desse tipo de atividade, né? Lembrando que o máximo ali é Ultimate, vai nível 500,
Person who's doing the best.
o Grandmaster vai ser 400.
Here's the strike ahead of you, or
É tipo os strike que já tem no Dash, né? É que é um modo diferente agora. Como reduzir o poder, né? Vai ser máximo 500, é o que tá mostrando ali. Então talvez, assim que sair, não, mas daqui, quando sair tipo um mês depois, eles liberem o nível mais alto. O pessoal que gosta de ficar farmando aí, né?
Yeah, true.
and maybe I'm letting you finish a few of those.
Yep. All right.
What else? Let's do one more. Chill touch. Yeah. So we were talking about getting the enemies into melee. So this will make it if they hit you in melee, you will suffer a stasis debuff and slow down.
Awesome.
And that pushes the power all the way up to 360. And those things are also increasing the potential score that you can receive from this, and the score is what drives the reward.
Right. So you see right here when we picked Chill Touch, the gear tier you're going to earn went from tier 2 to tier 3 for this activity. So it's really important to pay attention to what you're earning.
Yeah, so you know what you're going to be getting if you achieve that score at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
O nível de poder e o nível de poder dos combatentes, ou seja, o nível de poder dos inimigos que vai estar naquela atividade. Aqui é basicamente um assalto que tá mostrando, né?
doing this to show you combatant power and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, tons of love and passion went into that.
seriously.
Yeah. So let's look at player stakes. Oh, do you want to take this?
Oh yeah. So player stakes are the next category down, and they're more about the player's interface with the game itself. So things like locked loadout. We have no HUD is an ability that we added here, so you can play with no HUD for a little extra score bonus. And these are things that are really sort of letting you sort of tie one arm behind your back while you're playing. It's not making the combatants more powerful. It's changing how you're playing the game. You can start with no ammo. You can start with locked loadout. We'll be putting some more player stakes in Ash and Iron. Yeah.
I love no HUD.
Vai ter uma reestruturação nos itens que já tem no jogo, né? Esse novo sistema que eles estão colocando. É interessante, vamos ver na prática ele vai funcionar bem.
In the next bit,
Mas o que eu gostei bastante é que o design ali de você selecionar o que vai ter o que você vai fazer na atividade em si. Eles mudaram, eu achei bacana.
that you had in the Nether, along with
Fica basicamente explicando como vai funcionar algumas coisas que vai ter nos assaltos, né? Não vai ter acesso e tal.
get up and punch you. Well, now if they do, we're just going to shock them with lightning. So I'm kind of balancing out that additional challenge that we added and a different benefit that will kind of counter that and make it so it's actually a little bit easier for me.
Yeah.
What else can we do? Healing finishers are great. Just another way to get back health, or if you go in for that finisher and take damage on the way, that you'll be able to fill back up. And let's do one more. And sure, hypercritical is pretty fun. This one is actually a little bit tough because it makes it so that the enemies will take less non-precision damage, but more precision damage.
Daí no caso ele está substituindo a precisão que você tem do dano, né?
We know
Que você dá, mais o dano que você vai levar também, viu?
that's actually limited time, right?
Yeah. So
Tem uns boosts bem interessantes.
accelerator.
Tem que ver como vai funcionar na prática, né?
Second drop from the bonus focus
E por tudo que eles falam aí, é bem interessante ver
calendar. Different
como vai funcionar, mas daí na prática é meio que depois de uma semana eles começam
and
a nerfar e tal, aí estraga o jogo, né?
have more of those for like events and other like things going on in the game to give you kind of like another like fresh twist.
A recompensa que eu tô mostrando ali é a recompensa do Tier 2 que ele vai ganhar.
Good time. Realize
Ou
that
seja, quanto maior vai ser o difícil, né? Melhor a recompensa que você vai obter.
Rehearsal was a bonus to Suros weapons too.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of like there can be loot bonuses, there can be gameplay bonuses, and more.
Lembrando que as armaduras e as armas vai ter nível agora, viu? Até nível, se eu não me engano, até nível 6. Ou tá até nível 7.
Get it launched in and actually start.
Não, nível 5 as armas, se eu não me engano, e até nível 6. E agora ele vai fazer o assalto.
okay, so
Vamos ver aí como que vai ser. Se eles mostrarem, né?
thing on the stream, but no HUD is a great example of something you can engage with if you want to, because it's a challenge. It gives your score more opportunity to get better loot, but it takes away information going on the HUD. But what it also does is it makes it feel very cinematic and interesting, and like you kind of like feel more in tune with the character and the gunplay. And that's like a good analogy for what we're intending all the modifiers you're selecting to do. That it's like going to let you set up the situation like that he was talking about, like, oh, enemies have chill touch, but I'm going to like have live wire to counter it and create these cool little gameplay moments that are really like something that you choose for how you want to play for like really awesome loot.
Yeah, and Alan, when we were talking through some of these modifiers, like we've taken an inspiration from a ton of different places.
Yep.
Like No HUD in particular, shout out to Salmon Cat.
Yep.
Called her out last week for all the bows we were showing off, but also No HUD.
And we're hoping to get a bows only loadout modifier coming in the future too. We really do want to look at how people are playing the game, whether they're creators playing on stream or people playing at home, and really try to let them set up the challenge for themselves, how they want to do, right? Whether it be challenge modifiers, stakes, or the boons.
Yeah. How often are we going to be adding more modifiers to the portal?
Well, we're going to have some new modifiers coming with events. And we're going to be adding new modifiers with the mid-season update with Ash and Iron.
Yeah, that major update, yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on them pretty constantly along with the rest of the team. So it was like every few days that another either Bane would come online or modifier, and have to go playtest that, which was a pretty big playtesting lift to try.
Daí eu acho que é o mais alto que eles estão fazendo, mas é naquela área que tem a da,
When you combine some things that maybe we hadn't
a
thought.
da DLC, né, antiga. Começa lá, pelo que parece, e só mudaram algum caminho aí,
Esoteric or more
como que vai ser.
high skill creators of what can you throw on to make this difficult and can you actually complete it? Right. So it'll be fun watching those playthroughs. Ben, paired with that, how often are we going to have more activities being added to the portal?
Yeah, so we want to like regularly refresh the portal on like so that, you know, there's stuff coming online like on like somewhat weekly cadence. Like we're gonna have kind of a weekly like new stuff coming online for the first few weeks, and then when events come in, they're gonna have big changes like lots of new modifiers or like portal-wide like effects. There are some are going to come with activities as well, but we're also going to be every major update. We're going to have new activities that come in, and we're also going to have like shakeups of existing ops formats. And we're going to have a really cool new activity that's paired with an event at Ash and launch. I'm not going to talk about right now, but I think is really fun. That's going to be an exemplar of like, hey, we're shaking things up. Here's a brand new thing, in addition to all of like the classics and Destiny like Vault that we're bringing out.
Not just a new activity type that you've never played before.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so this is all talking about like what you're going to be playing in the portal, and we're going to be moving on to power and progression. So what you're earning, which is people love loot. Nutty, thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to give you just anything else you want to say before you leave.
I definitely want to shout out the rest of the Sandbox team, not just those of us that were working on additional modifiers and bans, but like that playtesting lift. We had everybody across Sandbox disciplines in all of those playtests to try and hit as much of this as possible. And I wanted to re-emphasize how impactful some of the modifiers can be. Specifically, I'm thinking back to what we were just playing in live with attrition modifier in Prophecy Week 1, because when we moved to Prophecy Week 2, my fire team had gotten so
Pra quem não percebeu aí, ele tá mostrando a gameplay, é que eu não tô com o mouse, não coloquei o mouse na tela, mas enfim, no vídeo eu vou explicar pra vocês que ali embaixo, agora vai ter tipo a munição que você tá tendo, né, que é a verdinha, e também tem a roxinha ali, mostrando ali a direção, quanto você tá ganhando nesse assalto em si, derrotando os inimigos que tem, né. É um novo design que isso aí fazia muita falta no jogo, mas eu achei muito interessante e tô comentando aqui pra vocês sobre essa interface que tá mudando, né?
And what your mood is too, like we're giving a lot of player agency to that.
Yep. Right, and speaking of player agency, so I would love to see your feedback, like what ones are you engaging with, what ones are you enjoying more, what ones feel like they are actually rewarding to do, and what ones feel like we could punch them up a little bit, because that's...
E o cara tá dando 23 de dano no crítico, meu Deus.
Chat, everybody scream, thank you, Nutty. We're going to swap you off and get our power and progression individual in, so...
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. While we're doing this transition, Ben, I would love to ask you, what activities could players find in Pinnacle Ops?
Oh, yeah. So Pinnacle Ops has, at Edge of Fate launch, it is going to be filled with exotic missions. And some exotic missions from the past year and previously as well.
Tá dropando bastante munição, viu? É quando a gente vai jogar, não dropa mísera munição.
intended to be, like not only something that is, well, exotic missions, they're kind of hard, right? They have mechanics, they're long, and so we're matching that by being like, okay, well, you can get the exotic if you don't have it, first of all, just from playing on the portal. It's available all the time. It's not like going through rotation like every week or something. And you can do Fireteam Finder, of course, to find people to play with. But look, we're really excited that it's like, oh, I can like play this as hard as I want or as easy as I want, whatever I want, whatever I'm feeling like right now. And we're gonna have more Pinnacle Ops in the future with Ash and Iron that we're not gonna talk about today. So it's actually a good example of like, hey, we're making this new section of the game that we're gonna just keep on building in and tinkering with over time.
Awesome. I sense a segue. We were talking about Pinnacle Ops
into the
and
next
Pinnacle
category.
Power. Hello, Josh. Welcome to the couch.
Hello. Hi, I'm Josh Galinsky. I'm a staff systems designer here at Bungie. Been here for about 5
Staff Game Design.
and I really work with a lot of our loot, our gear, your power and progression, as you mentioned, like, what are your rewards? What's the candy you get at the end of your activities and stuff like that? So we spent a lot of time reworking a lot of our stuff in the Edge of Fate, and really 900 is what the internal thing is. But we made big changes to how you engage with power in Destiny.
Esse negocinho aí do martelo é muito legal.
I think many of our creators have already noticed.
Você tá puxando o martelo de volta.
Swish. We've reset players down to 10. Like, that is not only to give everyone
Eu gostei bastante dessa habilidade que ele vai ter.
and to
Mas tem que estar equipado a manopla, gente, pra ter essa habilidade.
also 2020 power is not exactly the most friendly starting
Not
point.
easy to understand if you haven't been along for the ride.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, like, this is the beginning of a new saga. It's the beginning of a new thing here. So we're starting off there. It gives, like, all Guardians on equal footing with each other and allows us to kind of build up. You're going to have 200 points of power in the soft cap band.
Intrinsic cap, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to be able to go and do any activity you want across the game in order to get to that point. Once you get past that, then you enter the seasonal bonus power band, which is where you're going to have to start doing more of the portal activities and the Kepler, like world tiers and stuff, in order to get the power and progression that you want to get at that point.
Cool. So just to
Isso aqui tá mostrando já tinha essa missãozinha no jogo, gente.
is going
Na
to be
verdade.
first 190 levels, so up to 200, that's going to be effectively your base power level.
Yep.
And then as you're going into more powerful activities, higher tiers, that's when you start going up and up.
Right, and you'll be able to get up to 450 power up until not Rise of Iron, but Ashen Iron. Once you get to that point in the season, then you're going to be able to go even past that.
Awesome. So when we're talking about seasonal power, is that replacing the artifact power that we have?
Exactly. Like, we did simplify power a little bit further by taking power off of the artifact, and that allowed us to take the power we had there and put it back into the gear. So really it streamlines it. It makes it so you're only worrying about your gear power as far as your engagement with that. So it just takes one additional level of complexity out of the system.
Yeah, and speaking of just like that power climb, like our pinnacle sources have been updated to actually fit and give more agency, correct?
Absolutely. So one of the things I think if you're a long
Mano, você, tipo, esse lance deles estarem fazendo aí,
on you and like
meio que fazendo a galera ficar nível baixo,
there's been many seasons in the
não sei se vai funcionar muito bem, não, viu?
boots to come from the thing, and I do my pinnacles. I didn't get my boots. Well, not only are you able to more target farm individual gear pieces now, but also the limit of the pinnacles is no longer
Não sei se, tipo, eles vão
game that act as accelerators for you. As
pensar em fazer muitas coisas com esse, né? Tipo, meio que nerfar o personagem em si, né?
hits of powerful gear, but really, once you get past that, you can keep going.
Yeah, like everything in the portal is a source of pinnacle drops.
Exactly.
As much as you want.
As many times you complete it, with it being up to how you perform and how challenging make
Ela dropou uma arminha nova.
how far you can go.
Right. You still have to achieve that score as you go up in power for the higher difficulties to get that better loot.
Right.
Eu falei que é a missão principal mesmo,
Player doesn't necessarily
a
want to
campanha.
like creating that challenge. We have those offers too.
Yeah, and like we do have like matchmaking, which is like set modifiers for every activity that has not aside from solo ops. So solo ops doesn't have matchmaking,
Yeah.
but for fire team ops, you can matching with other players, so the modifiers are set, and we also have playlists, modifiers are set, but we have more than that too. We have conquests, and those are set.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Just a fun note, we've seen a ton of feedback over the years about players want to play Strike solo, and now...
Oh, yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
So we kind of going along with the idea of being player-driven, if you don't want to play a strike, like a Grandmaster Nightfall-esque strike, or even like early difficulties with other players, you don't have to. You can just play it by yourself. You can take as long as you want within the confines of the modifiers you've chosen to complete the activity and get the loot you have. So that falls into the what is your mood? What is it you're feeling like playing right now? And of these options, what's appealing to you?
Awesome. Yeah, I think back to you, Josh, really quick. Just from a high level, we talked about how Infusion is changing in the last blog, which, by the way, you should go read it. Can you give a high level for folks that didn't catch the blog? What's changing?
Yeah, at the highest level, upgrade modules are no longer a part of that Infusion thing. They're still going to continue to exist in the game. They can still drop from legacy content, but you can dismantle those for, I think it's an enhancement core in 1500 Glimmer. And so, those are still there. We're going to have a new unstable core currency that's going to exist, and you're going to use that in addition to enhancement cores in order to, infuse your.
Eu acho que o lance deles estarem fazendo esse negócio bastante alarme em cima desse
Really at its core,
nível de poder de Grandmaster.
texture over things,
Grandmaster também na campanha que eles mencionaram um pouco antes, né? É que eu acho que chegou um teto assim que o Destiny não tem que subir tanto de poder mais não, eu acho. Por isso eles estão meio que reduzindo os poderes que o pessoal tem, né? Nessa DLC. Acho que é até melhor, viu, gente? Falar a verdade. O pessoal aqui farma bastante, mais de 2.000 pouco poder. Não faz diferença tanto não, só faz diferença se você fizer aí, no caso, o assalto, né? No Grandmaster e tal. Mas por atividades não muda tanto, não. Realmente acho que eles subiram muito nível de poder. Mas, sei lá.
The Crucible ops that we have, which is a bunch of playlists inside of it, you're going to be able to start from that power 10 and just play Crucible.
Ganhou itemzinho ali, mas
you'll go up and you'll eventually get higher tier, be able to get really great sets of gear that will then be as good as anything else that you can find in the game. And you can just play Crucible all the way to the power cap if you want to. We are going to ask you to perform as you go to get more consistent rewards, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, and Josh, you mentioned before too of trials and competitive Crucible are going to be ways to accelerate, right?
Absolutely. If you're putting yourself in the pools with the higher skill players and challenging yourself, that's how you're going to get your faster rewards. And not to mention the trials armor sets and stuff, they're really cool this time around.
Yeah, we have a unique armor set for Crucible, for trials. We have weapons, a bunch of cool rewards coming up, and we'll have a preview of that. One of our characters actually has trials gear if you didn't notice. But now we have a good moment to look at our seasonal hub.
Sure.
Alan, I'm going to ask you to actually walk us through this.
Yeah, sure. If you notice the seasonal hub up there at the top of the portal screen, if you click into that, you come to the hub, which you're going to have a bunch of daily challenges and weekly challenges, and those are going to give you XP, they're going to give you bright dust, they're going to give you extra drops on a portal activity, but it's going to give you progress towards the weekly reward track there. And the weekly reward track has lots of currencies and powerful drops on there, but it also has, if you tab to the next one, is going to have some Vanguard Armory and Arsenal tokens, which give you bonus drops from Zavala from the list of weapons or armor you can get from these activities that are going to be higher tier, and they're going to be a higher power than you can get from even getting the best grade in there. So you'll want to be doing these, and these refresh every week and get 2 pieces of armor and 2 weapons every single week.
Yeah, and this track is free, correct?
Yeah,
this is all game.
This is all free. Everything in the portal is free. Awesome. So if you scroll down from here, you're going to run into the Conquest page. Now there's 2 on Expert, 2 on Master, and 2 on Grandmaster, and these are effectively your Grandmaster replacements in the portal. These are going to be fixed power, fixed modifiers, no fire team power, And you get really good rewards for completing it. You'll get 4 higher tier engrams for completing each one.
That are powerful. To give
Yeah,
you,
those
like,
are,
more
those are higher power, but you'll only be able to get it one time. But these are really about your journey through the season. As you level up, you can take on the first expert one, and then the next expert one, and then the master, and then master 2, and then finally the 2 grandmasters. And with Ash and Iron, we're going to be bringing more grandmaster and ultimate conquest, which will allow you to complete the conqueror title.
Actually,
seal.
really quick gameplay team, if you could go back to the modifiers that you were just typing over, this was a really good example of a quality of life feature that came about. We saw a ton of feedback around modifiers like, I'm squinting at these icons, I don't really know what they mean, and now we have them bucketed based on the portal options. So
Você pode estar customizando algumas coisas, né, para estar fazendo aquela atividade. Lembrando que no caso ali, esse negócio do Season Hub,
activity launch.
ajuda bastante aí as interfaces dos streamers. Eu achei interessante até, né, mas aquele negócio mais antigo que tem no Dash, né.
down low for the Conqueror seal.
Yep. So the Conqueror seal is down here. You're going to be completing the conquest during the season to earn and guild your Conqueror seal. And since this is still the Conqueror seal, it's going to maintain its old gilding. So this is going to be continual.
Awesome.
Yeah.
14 seasons in Conqueror.
Who is
Now
that?
we're going to keep on going.
Ele mostra, no caso, pra quem grindou, né. Eu não tive paciência, muita paciência de grindar esse negócio não, gente. O último título que eu tenho é só de raid mesmo.
Throw on a couple modifiers that you want to go for. Mix and match
Pra quem gosta de grindar e o Grandmaster, né.
through how the score is changing.
Vai estar aí, mas vai ser um pouquinho diferente. Mas,
For the folks on the couch, we already went through the seasonal hub, the rewards. We are also having a moment in time where Guardian ranks are resetting.
Yes.
Yeah, if
ali no caso é o modificador, viu, gente, que tá colocando. Lembrando que é claro que esse modificador se proporcionar missões novas que vai ter.
The
Não
first
tem nenhum aí antigo que vai funcionar nele.
and then the upper ones were about your seasonal journey and dealing with all the different kinds of things a player might do in Destiny. So we've stripped a bunch of those away and rebuilt objectives to be focused completely on the portal.
Lembrando que no caso ali o ponto que eles estão colocando
The various
é o ponto que você tem que fazer naquela só para conseguir a recompensa, viu?
playing all the different conquests, gaining power, gaining all the different kinds of rewards. It's going to be really showing like where you're at in that seasonal journey for, but purely for the portal. It's not going to reflect any dungeons. You're not going to have to solo any dungeons. You're not going to have to get commendations. Let's see what else don't you have to do?
Vamos ver como vai funcionar, né?
Those kinds of things. So every player will be able to get up to Guardian rank 11 with Ash and Iron.
Yeah, in our original goals when we were talking about Guardian ranks, it was kind of an on-ramp for players new or even old to go, what do I want to do in Destiny right now? Now we have a lot of stuff in the portal that dovetails into that. Solo dungeons, they still have unique rewards. They're no longer required for 11 in Guardian rank, but you can still get ghosts, sparrows, emblems, that
We're not taking anything away from the dungeons. We're taking away things from the Guardian ranks and adding different kinds of things back in. And since we're doing that, the first 5 ranks will still be sort of an on-ramp into the game. So we're going to drop everybody back down to Guardian rank 2 with Edge of Fate and let them go from there. There will be lots of cool things to do and earn and play through in the first few ranks. And then starting with Ash and Iron and every season from then on, we'll reset you back to 6, just like we've been doing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just another portion of
Aí é um novo local.
with aspiration, where it's like, I have my awesome armor from all these higher tiers. I have a new Guardian rank above my head. I've gone through the raid. I have this cool tier 5 weapon, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a ton to hunt, a ton to chase, and a lot of things to do. And I think at this
Acho que quando parece com o local quando você vai pro Ateon, né?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. And the exciting part is that everyone's journey through Guardian ranks is going to be kind of different because, a Guardian rank that tells you to accomplish this kind of power or complete this activity on this difficulty, how you did it will probably be pretty unique to you compared to other players because you chose different modifiers, there's different sets available for the given day or week, and maybe you did it solo, like we're talking about, like, you soloed the master difficulty, like one of the requirements in Guardian ranks, maybe you soloed on one of the conquests, and that's your story, and that's how you got it. But it's appropriate that there are a bunch of options for players to choose that match what their own experiences, what they want it to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. That actually brings us to the end of our Power and Progression. I believe, Josh, you actually had a couple more things you wanted to say before we left, though.
Yeah, really, there's 2 things I want to say. One is that, fire team power is definitely still a thing that's in this game. We really want to encourage you to play with your friends, and when you do play with your friends, if you're higher power level than them, that's another thing that can act as a nice accelerator for them and really, increase the bonds of friendship. That's like a core part of the DNA of Destiny, is being able to play with fellow Guardians.
Yes. So as an example, if you're at a tier 4 and I'm only tier 2, I join you, we do a tier 4 activity. I still get tier 2 gear, but it's accelerating me faster into tier 3.
You're going to hit your score a lot easier, which is going to help you get those bonus rewards. And yeah,
got it. Cool. And then your second note?
And yeah, finally, we made a lot of changes to the game in the Edge of Fate. We're definitely going to be listening to you Guardians. We're going to be listening to the data. We're going to be listening to a lot of stuff. This is just the beginning of a new saga. So we've got a lot to do in the future, and I'm really excited about what's coming our way.
Yeah, awesome.
Vamos ver, né, cara?
I have a few bookkeeping.
Eles vão manter as mesmas coisas que tá tendo atualmente, né? E com um nível maior que você tiver com seu esquadrão, no seu esquadrão ele vai escalonar.
Let's see.
O pessoal que tá nível mais baixo vai meio que nivelar com um nível mais alto.
The non-area engram. We introduced this in a previous TWID, but basically it's a new engram. You can earn a bunch of Rite of the Nine currency, and then purchase this engram for unique cosmetics that have been introduced over the past few years in Destiny. So if there are things like the skimmer that is Iron Banner theme, kind of like the wolf theme, that's actually in there, and you have a chance to get that. There are some Crimson Doubles emotes and finishers and other cosmetics, so definitely dive in and check that out. Additionally, we had mentioned Lootapalooza. So a couple weeks just before launch, we're going to start showering players with loot. Starting today, we have double Crucible loot, which also applies to Trials of Osiris. So if you're hunting for adepts, if you're hunting for any gear in Crucible, now is a great time to go. And we also have, for the weekend, a lot of players have been asking what maps are going to be featured. You got Dissonance, you got, Cirrus Plaza, and then you have the last one, which is Eventide Labs. We went through, we had a great conversation about what if we had some type maps on a rotation for these last couple weeks. And for the final week of the season, we're going to have Burnout, Endless Veil, and community favorite, Javelin 4. So Trials players rejoice. Players that may not have ever played Trials, get in, get your 4th streak, get some adepts, try it out, and get some gear to loot up for the Edge of Fate. And the final note, we are going to have all dungeons in the Rite of the Nine experience next week. Higher reward rates, higher currency rates, helping you get more of those drops, go into higher difficulties for your adepts, and potentially even get the hollow foil versions with additional perks.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all on the couch for joining us.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, crew. Thank you, gameplay. Thank you, everybody behind the scenes. And players, everybody out there watching, thank you. We have 14 days until the Edge of Fate. 14 days until a new
Falta pouco tempo aí, né?
ride over the last 10
Vamos ver aí como que vai ser a DLC.
for the next however many years we keep going,
Here we go.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Much love. We're going to be doing a raid over to our good friend Malachi, so if you want to stick around, talk about the stream, Malachi, we're handing it off to you. Thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Galerinha, é isso aí. Eu vou resumir pra vocês aí. Tem um vídeo futuro no canal. Espero que tenham gostado da live. Tô ficando por aqui. Nos vemos aí então na DLC, né? Quando sair. Vou finalizar a live por aqui. Até a próxima aí, gente. Vou ver aqui. E até mais aí. Acho que hoje já sai aí o vídeo pra vocês do resumo da live. Até mais, gente. Falou!